Hello friends, in this tutorial I will explain you how to design continuous beams along with its full detailing as per IS 456-2000. So for designing any beam, first of all we need to calculate maximum bending moment and shear force. So for example, in the case of simply supported beam, the maximum bending moment is given by WL square by 8 and the maximum shear force is given by WL by 2. So here we can say that the bending moment coefficient is 1 by 8 and the shear force coefficient is 1 by 2. Similarly, for cantilever beams, the bending moment coefficient is 1 by 2 and the shear force coefficient is 1. In the similar way, IS code has prescribed the bending moment and shear force coefficients for continuous beams in the table 12 and table 13 of IS 456-2000. Let us understand these tables with the help of an example. For example, if we want to design a 5-span continuous beam, so first of all, we will calculate the bending moment coefficients for dead load and live load separately and shear force coefficients for dead load and live load. So for dead load, for bending moment coefficients for dead load, first is the near the middle of the end span. We have the bending moment coefficient as 0.083. So at the near the middle of the end span we have 0.083. At the middle of the interior span we have the bending moment coefficient for dead load as 0.0625. So all the spans except the end span will have the bending moment coefficient as 0.0625. Next is at the support next to end support we have the bending moment coefficient for dead load as minus 0.1. So the support which is next to end support we have minus 0.1 and similarly here also we will have the bending moment coefficient as minus 0.1. At other interior supports we have the coefficient as minus 0.083. So at other interior supports we have minus 0.083. In the similar way we will find out the live load coefficients, and next is the shear force coefficients for dead load. So for the shear force coefficients at the end support we have dead load coefficient as 0.4. So here we have at the end support 0.4. At the support next to end support we will have two values, that is the outer side and the inner side. So outer side value is 0.6 and the inner side value is 0.55. So for this span we will have the outer side as 0.6 and the inner side as 0.55. Similarly for this end span we will have the outer side as this, that is 0.6 and the inner side as 0.55. And at all other interior supports we have the value as 0.5. So at all other interior supports we will have value as 0.5. Similarly we will calculate the shear force coefficients for live load. After finding all these coefficients we can easily calculate the bending moment and shear force. And as per the bending moment and shear force values we will provide the reinforcement in the span and at the support. The next part is the detailing part. So now in order to resist the maximum sagging moment, that is the positive moment, we will provide the reinforcement at the center of the span and at the bottom of the span. So now some bars will be extended into the supports, but how much we should extend? So as per the code we should extend 33% of the bars which are provided at the center of the span. So for example, if we have provided 6 bars of 16 mm dia, then we should provide 33% of that. That is, we should at least provide 2 bars of 16 mm dia continuing into the support, and 4 bars we can curtail, and we can curtail that 4 bars from the distance of 0.1 times of the span of the beam. Similarly, if it is an internal support, then the curtailment distance will be 0.15 times of the span of the beam. So similarly, in order to resist the maximum hogging moment, that is the negative moment, we will provide the reinforcement at the top of the support. But some portion of this negative reinforcement should be extended into the span. So as per the code, from the center of the support, first provide 100% reinforcement at a distance of 0.15 times of the span or 45 times of dia, whichever is minimum. So provide 100% both the sides. After that we can curtail and provide 60%, and again we can curtail and provide 20% to the remaining span. So these are the rules that we need to follow for curtailment of the bars. And now I'll explain you the full design by taking the help of an example. So here we have to design a 3 span continuous beam with the following data. So here the clear span of the beam is 5.7 meters. Width of each support is 300 mm. Superimposed dead load is 12 kN per meter, and the superimposed live load is 9 kN per meter. And the thickness of the slab that is supported by the beam is 120 mm, and the depth of web is 250 mm, and the width of flange is 230 mm. So here we will be designing the T beam as a continuous beam. So first of all, we will calculate the effective span of the beam. So effective span is given by the clear span plus width of support. So that comes out to be 6 meters. The next step is to calculate the effective and overall depth of the beam. So the overall depth of the beam is given by the depth of the slab plus depth of the web. So that is 120 plus 250. So that comes out to be 370 mm. Now we will calculate the effective depth that is required to satisfy the deflection criteria. So the effective depth required is equal to L by 26 into modification factor. Now in order to calculate the modification factor, we will assume the percentage of reinforcement as 0.7%. So we get the modification factor as 1.1 as per IS 456-2000. So the effective depth that is required to satisfy the deflection criteria is equal to the effective length, that is 6 meters, dividing it by 26 into modification factor. So the effective depth required is 209.79 mm. Now we will calculate the effective depth provided. That is equal to the overall depth minus clear cover minus dia of bar by 2. So that comes out to be 330 mm. The next step is the factored loads. So first of all, the self weight of the beam, which is equal to the width of the beam, that is 230 mm, plus overall depth of the beam, which is 370 mm, and multiplying it by unit weight of concrete, which is 25. So that comes out to be 2.12 kN per meter. So you can calculate the total factored dead load, which is equal to superimposed load plus self height of the beam and multiplying it by factor of safety of 1.5. And similarly, total live load, which is equal to 1.5 times of the superimposed live load. So the superimposed live load is 9, so that it comes out to be 13.5 kN per meter. So now we will calculate the bending moment and shear forces at the respective locations. So here the A denotes the middle of the end span. Here B denotes the middle of the interior span, and the C denotes the support that is next to end support. Here I have denoted the dead load as 1 and the live load as number 2. So first of all, we know that to calculate the moment, we need to multiply the respective coefficient, multiply by the load on the beam, and multiplying it by the effective length square. So first of all, in order to calculate the coefficient, we will use the VLOOKUP function. So VLOOKUP of, first of all, is the lookup value. So lookup value is, we need to calculate the coefficient for dead load. So we will enter the lookup value as this cell, that is 1. Next is the table array. So we'll select the table, this whole table we will select it, and the next is the column index. So we need to find the coefficient for the location A, that is the middle of the end span. So for that we have the column number 4. So here we will enter the column number 4, and the next is the exact value. So for the exact value we will type as 0. So once we get the coefficient with the help of VLOOKUP value, we will multiply it by the load on the beam, that is equal to 21.19. As we are calculating the dead load, we will multiply it by the total factor dead load, and L effective square, that is the effective length is 6, so multiplying it by 6 square. So the moment due to dead load at the location A comes out to be 63.57. Similarly, we will use VLOOKUP functions to calculate the respective coefficients, and then we will multiply it by the WL square to calculate the moment. So we will get span moments and the support moments. Similarly, to calculate the shear at the respective locations, that is at the locations E, F and G, where E denotes the end support, F denotes the support which is next to end support but on the outer side, and G denotes the inner side. We will use the same process of VLOOKUP and we will calculate the coefficient, but in the case of shear force we will multiply it by W into L, whereas in the case of bending moment we have done the multiplied it by W into L square, but here we will multiply it by W into L. So we will get the respective shear forces due to dead load and live load, and the respective bending moments due to dead load and live load. Then we will calculate the total moment, that is due to dead load and live load, by summing up at the respective locations. So next step is the design for flexure. So we will provide the area of steel to resist the bending moment. So first of all, at the location A, we need to provide AST required of 1150.69 mm square. So the formula for AST required is, for the T beam it is equal to mu, that is the bending moment acting on that beam, divided by 0.87 into Fy into D minus dF by 2, where dF is the depth of flange and D is the overall depth of the beam. So we get the AST required as 1150.69 mm square. So here we will assume 16 mm dia bars. So we will get the number of bars required as 5.72. So here we have provided 6 bars. Similarly, we will calculate the reinforcement required for resisting the bending moment at location B, and the negative reinforcement that is required to resist the bending moment at C. Now, in order to design for the shear reinforcement, the process is similar to what we have done in the singly reinforced beams, but here to calculate the tau V, we will use the maximum shear force. Tau V is equal to VU upon BD, but here VU will be the maximum of all. So that is maximum of 87.31, 124.89 and 118.53. So that is equal to 124. So whatever the maximum shear force is there, dividing it by B into D, that is width of the beam and effective depth of the beam. So we get the tau V value as 1.64. So tau V is less than the tau C value. So we need to design for shear reinforcement and provide the required spacing. And this spacing should not exceed the maximum spacing as per IS 456-2000. So here we have provided 8 mm dia 2-legged stirrups at 90 mm center to center. So this is the typical detailing drawing of the continuous beam. Here we have provided 6 bars of 16 mm dia at the end span for resisting the positive bending moment, and to resist the negative bending moment at the support we have provided 5 bars of 16 mm dia at the support, and to resist the shear force we have provided 8 dia 2-legged stirrups at 90 mm center to center. So this completes the design of continuous beams. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my channel. In the upcoming videos we will be discussing on design of one-way slabs, two-way slabs, isolated footings, combined footings, design of staircases, etc. in the Excel sheet. Thank you.